I'd like to introduce Sharon Stevens. Sharon is happily retired in beautiful Coburg after several years of teaching English at New York State high schools and managing and owning a catering business here in Canada. Writing has always been an interest, and an excellent memoir class in Bowmanville offered the incentive to start again after a long hiatus. Everyone, the train station.
I have collected stones in my travels, whether the destination is down the street, a leaf-littered path in the woods, or somewhere at the end of a plane ride. Often I have a stone in my pocket. Today I have no pockets, I have the stone right here. Often an odd lot sits in a dish on my bookcase. Often I pick one out and enjoy its texture with my thumb. Some recall connections to other places, other times. A small, smooth, white stone triggers memory of a similar one I saw in someone's hands more than 50 years ago. I was the only passenger to leave the train from Chicago at 2 a.m. at a small depot in Alabama, where I was to wait for my connection to Pensacola, Florida for a week's holiday. It was 1960. I was a naive, inexperienced young woman from the north, just through my first year of teaching in an upscale Long Island town. I was further from the realities of the civil rights movement than I should have been. The movement had already marked some significant events, but freedom riders, Martin Luther King, sit-ins, and race riots were still ahead. My train connection to my cousins in Pennsylvania was a 2-hour wait, so I made myself as comfortable as possible in the sticky heat on the hard wooden benches. I checked with the station master behind the wicket to make sure that I had the time right. The room was brown all over. Tongue-and-groove pine joints covered the walls and ceiling. Once likely stained and varnished, now neglected, dirt layered upon grime, layered upon desperation, and more neglect. Others waited there as well, 6 or 8 of us sitting apart. An older woman in a green hat, a heavy man in a suit who paced and fanned himself with his newspaper, one mother and her young child. At the far end of their bench was an older gentleman who sat forward, resting his arms on his knees. They were all Negroes, a term widely used back then. The gentleman tumbled a small white stone around in his fingers. I smiled in their direction, but there was no response. I thought to talk with the woman and ask how old her little girl was. 6. I got a one-word answer and was not encouraged to intrude more. A large face wall clock ticked steadily in the quiet. No one spoke. Though I could not have named it then, tension sat with us in that room. After a time, I left my seat to head toward the bathroom. Missy, the old man straightened in his seat and looked around. You don't want to go there. What you want is over the way. And he pointed to the doorway, to one side of the wicket counter. It was then, and for the first time, I saw the sign, "Wait," and turned back to look at the doorway to which I had been heading. Colored, it said. Similar signs were posted at the drinking fountain, and as I left the washroom, I saw another sign which let me know I had been sitting on the wrong side of the room. For a minute, I had no idea what to do. Pick up my case and walk over to the white bench? Sit back down where I had been? I wasn't aware of anybody watching me dither momentarily, but I returned deliberately to where I had been sitting. The old gentleman looked up quickly, nodded once, and almost smiled. We continued in the quiet for all the time until the train came. I noticed that the man still had held the small white stone. His fingers moved it slowly around in his hand while his thumb rubbed smoothness into it. Was this a stone he carried in his pocket always? Was it a talisman? Did it help him in dark moments, in horrid brown rooms? Where did his life take him over the next 10 years or more of upheaval? Did his world change? Did he ever sit in a train station or anywhere else where there were no ugly signs? Was he ever able to retire his small white stone because he no longer needed its comfort? Often, when I move the stones around in the dish on my bookcase, I think of him.